What's going on, family? This is Inspired to be Great, and I am your host, Ron Miles. Listen, family, I want to continue to thank you for your support. Thank you for leaving your comments, your ratings, your reviews. Thank you for reaching out to us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Blueberry, and just everything that you are. I also appreciate the fact that you decide to listen in each and every day, that you decide, hey, I want to become better. I want to do better, and I want to see better in my life. And with that being said, family, we want to dive right into today's topic, which is master your level. Just master your level, where you're at. And I know people say, I'm on top of my game, I'm doing my 1, 2, and X, Y, and Z. But the one thing that I found not only in my own personal life, but that I see in a lot of people that I coach, a lot of people that I come across in just general conversation, is that people aren't mastering their level. What happens is you see other people on other levels and you say, that's where I want to be. So what you end up doing, you end up reaching for those levels when you haven't taken care of the level that you're on. Like Meek Mill say, there's levels to this. You know, you have to gradually take the necessary steps to reach the levels in life you want to get. It's not going to happen overnight. That's just a flash bang. Unless you become a multimillionaire and you hit the mega millions or something, or somebody comes down and leaves you a bunch of money or whatever it may be, you're not going to reach that level overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take that 4-letter dirty word that most people don't like. It's going to take work. It's going to take work, family. You're going to have to struggle through some things. You're going to have to miss out on some things. You're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations to reach the levels in life that you want to reach. But they are attainable. It's just the fact that you have to get an understanding that you have to master exactly where you at. You can't reach for level 10 if you ain't even started on level 1. And understanding where you at is a big key and proponent. See, the problem is most people have dreams, they have visions, they have goals, which is great. I tell people all the time, let your vision become your dreams become your goals, and your goals become the result of the work that you put in. You know, so I want you to have your dreams. I want you to have your visions. I want you to have your goals, and I want you to obtain them. But at the same time, we have to understand where we're at. We have to understand how we're going to get there. We have to come up with something that's going to not only benefit us, but benefit those around us. See, the problem is you're thinking about yourself. And when you're thinking about yourself, it's easier for you to quit. Why? Because it's getting hard and there's nothing holding you accountable. Why? Because you're saying to yourself, I gave it my best shot. But if we be honest with ourselves, we will come to an understanding that more times than not, we don't give it our best. We may give it our best for the first 20 minutes, maybe the first 30 minutes, maybe even the first hour or two. But then we just taper off as the day goes on. We don't really go full throttle, giving our best to each and every situation, each and every task that we have to complete. Why? Because there's nothing holding us accountable. There's nobody looking over our shoulders to make sure that we're doing it with the same amount of effort, the same amount of fervency each and every time. And that is a huge problem. Why? Because you should have it within yourself. You should have made up your mind within yourself that nobody's going to do it like me. Nobody's going to put the passion, the effort, the work in like me. Nobody's going to dominate the day like I can. Nobody's going to give it their all each and every time. But see, that comes from a mindset. That comes from habits. That comes from each and every day you're pushing yourself to make sure you give it your all. And I'll give you an example, family. When I first got started at my job, I started out like everybody else. Came in entry level, just a regular old nobody. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't know too much who anybody else was. I knew who the people were who meant something to the company, i.e. the CEO, the vice president, the CFO, COO, the directors, people who meant something, people who had the opportunity to go to the top floor and go into that particular conference room that not everybody has access to. When they do the all staff meeting, we all come into the little lower level first floor conference room, but we all know that there's that main conference room where either the board of directors go, the chairman goes, where you get to see the nooks and cranny of what the business is. So Within my first 3 years of being with the company, I went from being just your regular entry level hire to an instructor, teaching people exactly what we do, how to do it, to actually being the leader and running the machines that we ran, to then actually becoming head of a particular unit. And then from there, I actually became the supervisor of a particular region and area, director of an area, not just this particular unit, but a large area, because the job I did, we covered over 19 counties in a state. So I became district leader, district area director, or supervisor, however you want to put it. But that's what I became. And I done it all in 3 years. And most people say, well, how did you do that? You must have knew somebody, or you must have been kissing butt and this, that, and the other. And that's not true. What it is, I came in with the intent that I was in competition, not only with the people in my field, but I was in competition with myself. And I wanted to outwork myself every single day. Why? Because that was the mindset I had developed through football, through basketball, through working out, that I had to become better. You know, back when I used to work out like crazy, and injuries now prevent me from doing it, but back when I was working out like crazy, I used to say my motto was lift till you puke, run till you pass out. You know, and I'm not advocating those things. Believe me, it's just FYI, I'm not advocating them, but that was my mindset. My mindset was telling myself, go until you could go no further. But everybody around me was you need to slow down. You need to take it easy. You're going to do this. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to do this. And lo and behold, my injuries never came from any sports, any working out. It came from just freak accident, you know, just a freak fall, and boom, your life changed forever. But what I'm getting at is this, though. Those same people who were telling me to slow down, to stop, to not go so hard, to not give it my all, were the same people who weren't in my position. These people were overweight. These people weren't eating correctly. These people weren't giving their mind, their thought over to being perfectionists. Not that we're going to ever become perfect, but the fact that I was striving for perfection. I understood I could never become perfect, but I was striving for perfection to the best of my ability. I wanted to master each level I was on, but I understood to get to the next level caused for me to put in certain work, put in certain hours. Waking up, I went from just working out one time a day to working out 2 times a day, to working out 3 times a day. And people will say, well, that's too much. You're giving too much. You're doing too much. It's not going to work. I remember being told by somebody who I love, who's close to me, said, you'll never get under that weight, that you're just not built to be under that weight. You're going to always be a certain weight and certain size. And it drove me. Why did it drive me? Because I knew what you were selling me was a bill of goods. I knew I had more in me. I knew I had better. So I told myself, okay, me doing it 1 time a day is not getting me where I want to go. I understand I've seen results. But see, your body's going to show the results. Your muscles are going to start to become defined. Your body's going to show the results that you are doing something. But then what happens? They say your body and your muscles plateau. So you have to switch it up. What does that mean? You mastered that level. Now it's time to expand. See, you always know when it's time to expand, when it's time to go to another level. You always know why, because you start to become bored. You start to say, I'm tired of this. This is not for me anymore. You start to get that yearning of wanting more responsibility, more accountability, wanting to do more, want to go more, want to see more. It happens to us all. But the problem is we allow those around us to quell that, and we become comfortable and complacent where we're at, because at the same time where we at may be a good place. But what happens when where you're at right now is not a good place? What do you do when where you're at and where you want to go has no, they're not in the same stratosphere in your life. They're not even on the same playing field. One is in Egypt and the other one is in California. But you know, I have to get to where I want to go, but nothing in my life shows it. That's where your work ethic comes in. That's where your dedication to your craft comes in. That's where you say, no matter what's around me, no matter what anybody says, I know I can move to the next level. But how do you do that? Sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice. So I went from working out late at night to saying, okay, well, now I'm going to get up in the morning before school, before work, and I'm going to get a workout in. Okay, now I'm working out at night and in the morning. Okay, well, I know I get off early 3 times a week. Okay, so if I'm done at work by 1, I just go straight to the gym and I can get another one in. So now I'm working out 5 days a week in the morning, 5 days a week at night, sometimes 6. And 3 to 4 times a week throughout the middle of the day. And what happens, and it didn't just happen overnight. I didn't just say, oh, I'm so obsessed, I got to do it. What happened was my body reached another plateau from doing the 2-a-days. But see, I was used to 2-a-days. Why? Because we've done 2-a-days in football. Sometimes we've done 2-a-days in basketball. We did 2-a-days in wrestling. So my body was used to it. It adapted to it quick. But so then I knew I'm still not getting the results I want. So what do? I have to put in a little extra more work. I have to go a little harder. I have to change and tweak my diet. See, beforehand, I was still able to eat garbage, but work out because I was in shape. I was burning a lot of it off. But then I had to learn, okay, well, maybe I can tweak my diet, still only work out twice a day, sometimes once a day, and get the results that I wanted. Which it happens. I mean, there's different ways to master levels. That's what I'm getting at with this, family. I'm not just saying you have to do it a particular way. But you have to understand where you at and what's going on in your life to figure out how you're going to master this level and move to the next phase. So what ended up happening is I end up reaching the goals that I wanted to with my body, with my weight, with the way I looked. And everybody who said I couldn't do it or I was doing too much, they all then wanted to know how did I want to do it. And see, that's what happens, family. That's what happens when you master a particular level and you start to see the results in your life from you mastering a particular level. Maybe the level that you're on right now is just trying to figure out what's next. What do you want to do? Well, then that's when you have to actually sit down. Write out your goals, your visions, and dreams. That's the first thing you do. Write out the things that you want to do. Then put a priority on which ones are most important to you. Why? Because we have tons of goals and visions and dreams. But then also write out what you're gifted at doing. And I tell people, if you don't know what you're gifted at, I don't care if it's cooking, I don't care if it's cleaning, I don't care if it's speaking, athletics, I don't care what it is, music, comedy, movies, lawyer, doctor, whatever it is that you are gifted at, that people come to you because they know this is your expertise, whether you wanted it to be or not. But you always find yourself in a particular situation where somebody calling you to do their hair, do their nails, whatever it may be. Find out what you're gifted at. And 9 times out of 10, we're gifted at multiple things, but find out which one that you're truly passionate about. And then we're going to focus and hone in on that. Not to say you won't go to your other ones, but what it is, you focus and you hone on the particular one that you can start to produce from right away. And then you expand and you add to that one. See, the problem is too many people get caught up in what that one thing they're good at. And so when that one thing they're good at runs out on them in life, they become lost. Why? Because their whole life has been about this one thing that they're good at, this one thing that they know how to do, this one thing that everybody recognized them for. But what happens when everybody's tired of that one thing? What happens when nobody wants to work with you on that one thing anymore? And you see that with a lot of actors, a lot of, as you hear, one-hit wonders and different people like that. Why? Because they become consumed and they become that one thing instead of saying, I'm not going to be defined by this one thing. There's multiple layers to me. There's multiple levels to me. Maybe you're an author. Maybe you like writing poems. No matter what it is, just understand your gift. Understand where you at. Write it down. Then make sure, family, you write out a mission statement stating what you're about, what you're committed to, and where you want to go. It could be something as quick as 4 or 5 lines, just saying, I'm about becoming my best self at all times. I'm committed to putting in the work to become excellent in my craft. By doing so, I will see the results in the future that I want out of life, not only for myself, but for my family. But then I want you to niche it down. I want you to get more specific than that. I want you to put in what exactly you're doing, how you plan on doing it, and why you want to do it. And understanding your why is very, very important. I know you probably hear this all the time. Know your why, know your why. What's your why? What's your why? How you going to do it? But that's very important. You have to understand that your why can't be about you. Why? Because you won't hold you accountable. It's just proven. Most people cheat themselves and cheat the system. Why? Because they don't hold themselves accountable. But if somebody else knows your why, if you look at somebody else, if you look at your family, your children, your mother, your dad, whoever it may be, and said, this is my why. I don't want them to go through that particular situation anymore. I don't want them to live on Section 8 anymore. I don't want them to not have a vehicle anymore. I don't want them to have to eat from the low level neighborhood stores. I don't want them to grow up around crime and poverty. You have to have a why that's outside of you. Why? Because like I said, if it's all about you, you will end up taking the easy road at times. Why? Because sometimes we're just not as hard on ourselves when we know it's about us. And we know, well, I could take it easy today. But if you know their livelihood depends on you, if you know their future depends on what you do today, so you got to make it hurt to yourself. You got to tell yourself, if I don't do this, if I don't stay committed to this particular thing, what's the outcome? Not for me, but for my family, for my neighborhood, for my community, for my city. If I don't do that, because what's inside of you can change not only you and your neighborhood and your community, but it could change your city. It could change your state. You may have something inside of you that we've been waiting on all this time. You could change the world, but until you sit down and write these things out, if you don't do it, you have to make it hurt within yourself, family. You have to really feel that pain that if I don't do it, this may happen. And then also write down, but if you do complete it, if you do go through with it, what can happen? And you write it down and you start seeing the comparison to your face. And I want you to put it somewhere where you see it every day. I don't care if it's on your refrigerator, if it's on your bathroom mirror, if it's sitting across on the wall from your toilet, something where you every single time, every day you see it, you come across it. Even if you record it in your phone and you play it back to yourself 2-3 times a day. Why? Because you have to master that level. You have to be able to say, I have to master this level. And like I said before, you know when you master, because then you're ready to expand. You're ready to take on more responsibility. But see, the problem is a lot of us don't want to take on responsibility. A lot of us are afraid of that 4-letter word of work. We don't want it. A lot of us show up to work with our hand out expecting a check. Let me do my bare minimum. Let me just come in here and get through this day. How many times you wake up and you just like, I don't feel like going. I don't feel like doing it. These people get on my nerves. I don't feel like being bothered with all this stuff. You want to know why you say those things? You want to know why you go through those feelings? Why? Because it's all about you. Your why is not focused on somebody else. Your why is not focused on your family, your future, your goals, your dreams. Your why is not bigger than your feelings. See, you have to move past your feelings. Why? Because your feelings will intercept your perception of how you see the situation. Yes, the situation may not look good. Yes, you may be on the verge of having some things shut off. Yes, you may be on the verge of getting fired, but all that could be turned around by your perception. As they say, is the glass half full or half empty? It's all in your perception. It's all in how you perceive things, but it comes from renewing your mind, from transforming your mind to a winning attitude. To a winning attitude where each day you're waking up and you're ready to conquer. Each day I tell myself, dominate the day, dominate the hour, dominate the minute, dominate the second. When I don't feel like it, I know that my grind will keep me going. My family, my future will keep me going. What I want for them, not necessarily for myself, but I know my gifts will make room for me, which will enable them to live the life that I want for them. Why? Because they are my why. So I had to understand on my job that if I go hard each day, if I show up and do what I'm supposed to each day, my work will be noticed. I don't have to go in and ask for a raise. I don't have to go in and ask for a position. I don't have to go in. Why? Because they're going to notice you by you mastering and taking care of your level. Stop focusing on everybody else. Stop worrying about what other people are going to say about what you're doing. Why? Because they don't have your vision. They don't have your knowledge. They don't have your passion. They don't see your why. They don't see the outcome that you see if you do what you're supposed to do at the level that you're at. But once you become great at your level, once you make up in your mind that I'm going to dominate the day, I'm going to dominate the hour, I'm going to dominate the minute, I'm going to dominate the second, I am my biggest competitor, I am my biggest critic, and that I am going to be great at this very moment, at this very time. See, you got to put an expiration date on things, family. You got to be willing to say to yourself, this don't last always. I won't be going through this all the time. I won't be at this job all the time. I won't be in this house all the time. I won't be in this project all the time. I won't drive this raggedy car all the time. I won't be on this bus all the time. I won't eat at these grocery stores all the time. I won't live in poverty all the time. This stuff has an expiration date. It has an expiration date, family. But until you're willing to believe that it has an expiration date, until you're ready to put yourself around people who will show you the way, who will help guide you out and move from level to level. See, what I did, family, I had to position myself around entrepreneurs. I had to position myself around people who spoke into my life. I had to position myself around different people outside of those who I love dearly. Why? Because the ones I love dearly was going to lead me to live the life that they were living. Why? Because you become the sum of the 5 people you're around the most. So if the 5 people you're around the most have a poverty-stricken attitude or mental mindset, then I am going to start blaming, it's this person, it's that, or they don't want me to have anything. This is all we got. We don't have the community center. We don't have the social programs. We don't have this. Then make them. Get around people who's willing to make them happen in your community. Put yourself in position where you're going to be the go-to person for that particular area. But the problem is we become comfortable and we become complacent. Why? Because everybody else is living like this. Everybody else is going through these motions, but you're not everybody else. So you have to understand, family. At the end of the day, you have to really understand. You have to really grasp the fact that it's time to master your level. It's time for you to focus in and say to yourself, I'm going to be the best at this particular level I am in my life. Yes, I want to be on level 10, but I got to start on level 1. I got to master level 1. I got to get that understanding of what I'm gifted at, what I want to do with my life, and where I want to go with my life. Then I want to move on. Once I get that part and I master that, then I want to move on to level 2, which is starting to put myself in position to get to my goals. See, once you start positioning yourself to get to your goals, family, you'll start coming across, as I tell people, opportunity meets position. And that's a whole nother topic for another day, where the opportunity meets position. Why does opportunity meet position? Because you start positioning yourself around certain people. You start positioning yourself towards your goals. So you're going to run into people who's on higher levels than you, who will give you an opportunity to prove yourself, to be a part of their group, to be a part, to go up under their mentorship, whatever it may be. But see, the opportunity won't meet position if you don't have the thinking that I need to master it. But then too, you don't have to toot your own horn. People are going to notice you. Listen, family, I had the opportunity to have somebody who's a multimillionaire reach out to me. And I said to my wife, I said, little old me, little old nobody. But why? Because I position myself. Each day I stay committed to my radio podcast. Each day I stay committed to sending out emails. Each day I stay committed to doing the best I can. And then when I'm not focused on my necessarily visions and goals, but I'm doing other things for other people, I'm giving them the same 120%, where they know I could be counted on. They know he's going to give his all. Rather he gets it done or I fail at it, but you know I gave my all. Can people say the same about you? Can people say that you gave your all at mastering the level that you were on? So you can't ask for more if you haven't mastered where you're already at. And that's the problem. Everybody got their hand out, wanting more, want somebody just to pull them up and they want to skip levels. But you have to go through the process. Why? Because you're going through the process. It's going to refine you. It's going to shave off some things that's not good about you. It's going to start to fix some of your character issues. It's going to put you through a process where it's going to get you prepared for where you're going. But until you believe, until you truly see that this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to be, you'll never get to where your goals are. Your vision and your goals have to line up. Your values and your goals have to line up. But part of lining it up is just mastering the level that you're on. And like I said before, family, you'll know when it's time to reach a new level because you'll plateau. Your muscles won't grow. Your mind won't grow. You won't have nobody who you feel is intriguing you anymore. You feel like I need to do more. I need to have more. This has become too easy for me. So you'll say, I need to go to another level. So you'll position yourself to meet opportunity to reach the new level. You start to understand, okay, I've done everything I needed to do on this level. What is next? How can I add to? We're not taking away from. Yeah, we may have to cut some people off. Yeah, we may have to cut some things out. But when it comes to your vision, your goals, and your dreams, you're constantly adding to. With that being said, family, this has been another great podcast of Inspired to be Great. I wish you well. I hope for you that you make the decision today to master the level that you're on. Be sure to leave your ratings, your reviews, your comments. Also, touch base with us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, and Blueberry Radio. We can also be reached at www.ronaldmiles.com. That's RONALDMYLES. Remember, family, greatness only happens when you make good the enemy of great. I'll talk to you later.